First of all, thank you, Prokopius. I'm not sure you are the best host of the world, but you are one of the best hosts of the world. I would like to congratulate you and also the Greek people and Greece for the recent economic and financial achievements. Congratulations. And give a warm welcome to our Latvian and Maltese colleagues, and congratulate our Polish colleague for the Nobel Prize. This morning's discussion is correctly framed around solidarity as a key driver for action, more than a buzzword or an empty principle. A clear example is provided by what we can envisage as three interconnected and interdependent circles of solidarity. The first one is between us, and only by acting together can we overcome the effects of the inequalities persisting between our countries, regions, and citizens, which threaten to tear us apart. First, by focusing on convergence and making sure that no member state is left behind. We need to rapidly agree, hopefully by the end of the year, on a multi-annual financial framework that enhances EU's ambitions without losing sight of the importance of the cohesion and agricultural policies. And there, I understand how important it is, this cohesion and agricultural dimension for our Bulgarian, Croatian, Hungarian, Polish, and who knows, Slovenian colleagues. Only if we are ambitious can we respond to the new challenges we're facing. Portugal has already stated its availability to match this ambition, including with new resources. I know that some of us would rather procrastinate a decision till the end of 2020. It's a huge mistake. That's my point of view. In a very unpredictable world like this one, rather a less good decision today than a considered to be better decision, I'm not sure it would be, the day after tomorrow in a much more difficult world. Then we must ensure the sustainability of the convergence. This means completing the EMU, namely through the banking union and the robust budgetary instrument for convergence and competitiveness. The work currently undertaken by the Eurogroup is therefore most welcomed, and the agreement reached on its last meeting is a very positive step that needs to be taken forward. Well, I must add, I'm not quite sure that our bankers and our banking systems have fully understood the lessons of the recent crisis. Well, this said, we must guarantee that these convergence and growth-oriented instruments have our citizens in mind. This means developing a social dimension of the EU, as well as tools to cope with the impact of educational, technological, scientific changes in the job market in the next future, in the future of our youngsters, and also with the demographic challenge Europe is facing, a different one in Western, Eastern, Northern, and Southern countries. Our Bulgarian and Estonian colleagues have stressed these important points. And then, in the same vein, we need to find ways and means to work constructively with the United Kingdom, both in assuring Ireland and our Irish co-citizens solidarity in this difficult period, but at the same time in exploring all routes for a possible agreement till the very last minute. And in any event, to ensure that we will go on developing a mutually beneficial cooperation. A second circle of solidarity is needed to deal with the changes occurring within and around us. Dealing with migration or the economic crisis is not something we can do in a vacuum. It must take into account the external dimension. For that, we need to make sure that the benefits of globalization are felt equally across the board. That implies we continue developing an ambitious trade agenda that respects our values and principles. We must strive to make a huge success of the agreements with Canada and South Korea, making our citizens aware of such a success and how important for free and fair trade they are. We must urgently develop an effective, common and comprehensive migration policy, one that implies solidarity and responsibility and goes beyond ad hoc arrangements that are no substitute for long-term sustainable solutions. The recently agreed Malta Declaration, to which Portugal has already signed up to, is a positive step in that direction, but we need much more, as we need a constant focus on all routes of the Mediterranean, Western, Central, and Eastern, as our Greek friends so rightly stressed. This also means Europe needs to go on paying close attention to the situation in the near Middle East and call for political and sustainable peaceful solutions and the end of foreign military actions. And at the same time, persuade our friends, our NATO allies and neighbors that it's no use, or at least it's not so good after all, to use the threats concerning migration. Because we are in the same boat, and one that is feeling today to be strong or too strong could be in a much weaker position tomorrow or the day after tomorrow. And let me now address 4 questions that have been asked mostly by different colleagues, but mostly by our Hungarian colleague. The first one is this one. Is there a problem when we think of Africa, of the hundreds of millions of Africans in the Sahel or in the Central Africa that could quickly migrate to Northern Africa and then to Europe in 2030, 2040, 2050, or even much before? My answer is yes, there is a problem. Second question, is it possible to fix a figure, a limit, based just on border control? Very efficient, very operational. Or any kind of single state or even European Union common internal policies? Can we solve that problem just through these policies? My answer is no. No way. It's like hiding the sun with our finger. Impossible. Third, is it useful? Do we need to involve other states, other political actors all over the world in solving this problem? Yes, yes. United States, Russian Federation, China, Canada, African countries, Near and Middle East countries. Yes, but we know that some of them do not consider it a priority. It's not a priority for the United States of America. Neither Africa nor climate change. Today, it could be tomorrow. And for other countries, their interests, either strategic or tactical interests, create some obstacles for this immediate involvement. That's why, knowing we need them, we do also know that European Union has a unique role to play. If we do not play this role, nobody else would do it. Nobody else. So knowing we are alone, it's very unfair to be alone most of the time. We cannot find there an argument not to act. We must persuade, we must foster, we must go on insisting and trying to find a joint position. It's difficult, it is. It's a difficult management, it is. And fourth question, how shall we do it? How shall we prevent in the root, I mean in the origin countries, in the origin regions, prevent this migration? I've spoken already of the Near East and Middle East. We've made so many mistakes in the past dealing with the Middle East. We were not alone in what concerns mistakes. But we did them. But now coming to Africa, we need, has been said, partnerships. We must involve Africa in global partnerships with the African Union. Not just a single European country with African Union or with a single African country, but the European Union together with African Union and all of us with the concerned African countries. But more than that, in many cases, there are climate change problems, but also military problems, security problems, political problems, political instability, security instability creates unbalanced economic and social situations. Our troops are in Mali and in Central African Republic, with some European countries, but mostly with African countries, or countries coming from other continents. The problem starts there. If we don't find out the way, which is a political option, both of the United Nations, of the European Union, if we don't find out an option or a strategy to deal politically, militarily, and also, of course, economically and socially through partnerships with this problem, the problem will go on, will persist. And migration is now very, very quick. Very quick. Those populations will cross neighboring countries and go straight to Northern Africa and create more troubles, still more troubles in Northern African countries, where we have already a very stressed situation in several of them. And finally, we cannot separate everything that deals with migrations from climate change. We cannot. It's just a common issue, because also climate change is creating desertification in Africa. Instability, social instability, economic instability in Africa, as all over the world. And also because of another reason, because younger generations have taken this issue, global warming and climate change, as a key issue for the future. No use of forgetting it and trying to ignore it. And more than that, it's an easy issue to be instrumentalized and manipulated by strategies and tactics from everyone. It's very easy, because it's a fair one, it's an unavoidable one, because it's a strong one for younger generations. It will be going on for the next couple of decades. And that's the other circle of solidarity, a third level of solidarity. Europe and European Union must keep on going together concerning this priority. From time to time, people get bored and tired saying, why? Why it has been too much to be so important as we were to get Paris Agreement, to get the conventions. Nobody else would really keep that pace. Nobody else, for the moment being. No, they can join us for tactical reasons, perhaps for strategic reasons, one or two, but it's up to us, European Union. And I end with this last remark. Solidarity needs union. And the takeoff of this European Commission is quite a test. It must be a takeoff in a spirit of unity. It's not good to postpone the takeoff. It's not a good sign. But it could be even a worse sign to start quarreling about the takeoff just in the beginning of the new political cycle. A very bad sign for our public opinions, a very bad sign for the rest of the world, because the rest of the world needs us, needs European Union, and needs a strong European Union. They need it. Well, anyway, thank you, Prokopios, for the inspiration of the Greek spirit and of the Greek roots and your personal inspiration. Thank you. And as you really said, next year is Lisbon. I'll be looking forward to receive you there. And one of the subjects could be this one, relationship between the European Union and the rest of the world, starting with the neighboring world. Could be an interesting subject for us to reflect on.